Hey there and welcome back. Today we'll be talking about how to make millions of silver out in the Black Zone areas. We'll break down a cheap build that you can run that requires no mastery or spec and will help you quickly kill mobs so you can get back on your mount. I get this question quite a bit. I'm asked what is the best way to make silver in Albion Online. There are endless ways to make silver in Albion, however most players that ask this are newer to the game and are solo players looking for a way to pay for premium or trying to afford more expensive items. Now, since medium to large scale PvP is not an option, I always recommend killing open world mobs in the black zones. However, I do recommend looking for a guild through the guild finder that is active around your playtimes. This will improve your overall experience in Albion Online. As we all know, being out in black zones can be scary. You don't want to get killed and lose your gear and items. So newer players tend to stay in yellow and blue zones, which is fine at first, especially if you're familiarizing yourself with the game. However, I feel that this thought process is really holding players back. Now, yes, you can make silver farming mobs in tier 5 yellow zones and cash in on faction points, but the reality is that you're making about 6 times more silver in black zones, especially in tier 8 zones. This does not factor in the tier 7 and 8 items that you'll get off of mobs as well. Now, to show you how good the black zone is, I've gone out and done some mob grinding to see how much silver we could make in an hour. I did break this up into 2 different sessions. One will be solely mob farming and the second one will include gathering. I've seen comments in videos regarding gathering in the black zone that it's too risky and impossible, so I wanted to show you that you can easily manage this as well. I did this live on the West server. I wanted to give you a realistic point of view rather than do this on a test server. I'll be speeding up the video as we go through the build breakdown and talk about tips on surviving in the black zone. Also keep in mind, if you do end up dying, this is only a 45,000 silver set. You'll make much more silver before you end up dying. You are risking a very cheap set for a high reward. Now, without further ado, let's get into the build breakdown. For your helmet slot, you will go with Assassin's Hood. For your D, you will take Meditation, which will increase your cooldown rate by 80% while channeling for up to 2.75 seconds. This is great to use when trying to kill mobs quickly as it will give you another set of cooldowns. For your passive, you'll take Balanced Mind for the increased damage and defense. Now for your armor piece, you will take Cleric Robe. You'll go with Everlasting Spirit for your R, which will make you immune for up to 3 seconds and increase your damage by 20%. You will go ahead and go with Aggression to increase your damage by 8%. Now on your Brawler's Gloves, you'll take Create Opening as your Q. You get your combo with this ability. The first attack will damage your enemy and the second one will also damage your enemy and decrease their damage resistance by 28 for 3 seconds. This is good to use before you use any other abilities to get the most amount of damage out. Now your W will be Triple Kick. You will dash towards your targeted position and kick all enemies you pass through. This does more damage to mobs and players, and if you use this on a player, it will pull them with you. Your E is Blazing Geyser, which does a massive amount of damage as you smash the ground and throws all enemies up within a 4-meter radius. Also, hitting at least one enemy will reset your Q. Your passive will be Fatal Fury, which increases your damage by 2% and stacks up to 9 times for 3 seconds. For your shoes, go with Hunter Shoes. You will want to take Refreshing Sprint for the movement speed and cooldown rate. Your passive will be Balanced Mind for increased damage and defense. Now for your cape, go with the basic 4.1 cape for max energy and energy regen. Your goal with this build is to quickly kill mobs and mount back up to avoid dying in the black zone. The build does a great job at increasing your damage and provides a lot of cooldown reduction, making sure that you can easily kill mobs. Now that we've talked about the breakdown, let's talk about how we did out here in the black zone. When it comes to farming out in the black zone, I do recommend tier 5, 6, and 8 if you're going to mainly fame farm and kill mobs for silver. Tier 7 zones tend to have a low mob density. However, I do recommend tier 7 zones in forest biomes. You'll have a lot more mob density due to the bears, direwolves, moose, and boars. Now, not only is this great for skinning, but you also have a chance to get direwolf pups from direwolves, which currently go for about 150,000 silver, and you also have a chance to get a direboar piglets, which go for about 600,000 silver. Now, on the first trip out, I focused on tier 6 and tier 8 zones and made about 1 million combat fame. I also made about 350,000 silver from mob kills alone. I was able to secure some drops, including a direwolf and a tier 8 great arcane staff. In total, about 515,000 silver from drops. So in about 30 minutes, I made 865,000 silver in profit. Now this could have been better if I got more drops. However, let's say I didn't get any drops at all. I still made 350,000 silver from killing mobs and over 1 million combat fame. Now let's talk about how we did in the second outing. In the second outing, I wanted to make sure I got some gathering in to showcase this can also be done. So I headed out to a tier 7 forest biome in hopes of a direwolf pup or direwolf boar piglets. I quickly came across a legendary mist. This is another perk of being out in the black zone in comparison to staying in yellow zone areas. You'll come across high tier mobs and resources in black zone mists. As an additional tip, the tier 6 wolves in mist also drop direwolf pups. Once I finished gathering in the mist, I started to grind out skinnable mobs for hide and pups in the tier 7 forest biomes. I was able to secure another direwolf pup and a bunch of tier 6 and tier 7 hide. In total for this outing, I collected 913,000 silver. This does not include any silver that I made from killing mobs. In total, I made at least 2 million silver in 1 hour. This does not include any additional silver I will make from collecting favor to cash out for Conqueror's chests, which have a chance to drop a baby mammoth worth about 150 million silver. Now, the best thing of all this was I didn't get ganked or die at all. So how did I manage to survive in a tier 8 black zone, gather in a legendary black zone mist, and a tier 7 black zone area? The best way to survive is to be aware of what is going on in your zone. You want to try and stay out of sight and out of the way as much as you can. You can do this by keeping an eye out on your minimap. Be aware of where the objectives are, like chests, enchanted nodes, territories. You always want to stay on the opposite side of these objectives so you aren't spotted. If you are spotted by a scout, it is very unlikely that a group of people will travel across the map and abandon their objective to kill someone in a 45,000 silver set or like a 4.1 set. If you start seeing blobs on the map, stay away from exits as they tend to travel to different zones completing objectives. If you see multiple blobs, it's okay to pack up and move to another zone. So I highly recommend you start making your way to the black zone areas and get out of your comfort zone areas. The yellow and blue zones are a good starting place, but there is a lot of silver to be made. Expect to die from time to time. The best thing I can recommend is don't get greedy. Go bank your loot before you run the risk of dying. Now, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. If you really want to support the channel, become a member. You'll get access to custom badges, emojis, and exclusive member-only videos. I'll be streaming from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. every day now, which is 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. UTC. Come by and hang out. I enjoy answering everyone's questions, so stop by and say hello.